And instead of backing off or apologizing for it, they're leaning into it, and they're playing the music over loudspeakers and on repeat inside the briefing room because they simply don't care about that criticism.
Do you really not realize the American people recognize that he did not actually come to the White House wearing a sombrero and a black curly animation mustache?
If you guys think that we can survive another 3.5 years of this, I think you're delusional.
You know, Joy, you are exactly right. You should go to, like, Ireland, where Rosie went. Maybe, you know, go to the same neighborhood. I would, you know what I would do for Joy to help that happen? I would look up, well, U-Haul doesn't get you to Ireland, but I would look up whatever that big company is that does the international moving to help Joy Behar get to a different country where she believes she could survive for the next 3.5 years. And you know, I'm curious. I'd love to have this conversation with Joy Behar because I would ask her, what is it that's making it unlivable? Is it the reduced threat of crime by illegals? Is it the grocery prices that are coming back down? Is it the stock market that's so high that's making it unlivable? Is it like what? I don't know. I was watching the press conference, or at least the highlights from the press conference the other day that Trump held with Pfizer, and announced dramatically reduced prices of some of their most popular drugs in certain instances. And I thought, you know what we're going to see? And for me, in my mind, this is a Babylon Bee headline, but quite often Babylon Bee headlines end up true and coming to reality. I think there are going to be people who will show up at pharmacies demanding to pay the higher non-Trump price. They will not accept the Trump discount if they're buying a drug by Pfizer. And they will demand to pay the $1,000 a month, even though Trump dropped it to a couple $100 a month. As they take an extra, bottle of Tylenol that week. So, and please don't do that because that is a fatal dose. But I thought these people are so lost. So lost. There was a clip, Lawrence O'Donnell, and I think it was Rachel Maddow. But Lawrence O'Donnell was with Rachel Maddow. He is out there peddling this idea that Donald Trump is losing it, that his cognitive capabilities are now slipping.
Dramatic mental decline in Donald Trump. This is a sharp cliff that he's just fallen off within the last fortnight, especially over this particular weekend of social media posting. It has been a stunning weekend. It's something I was going to get into anyway in talking about how do you talk to a guy who just did this, and this is what he had done before Leader Jeffries walked into the room, before Leader Schumer walked into the room. Now we see what he's done after they left the room, and it's even worse. And the question of how can you possibly negotiate with this man becomes all the more vivid.
Okay, we have to stop there. So they're worried about Trump 2028 caps. I mean, clearly it's designed to troll them. Not to them, though. That's why the troll works. If they knew it was a troll, it wouldn't work, and it wouldn't be as funny. It's that they see Trump 2028, and they have these real, genuine feelings that Donald Trump is going to be a dictator. He's really going to run in 2028, and it's going to... And so that's why the troll works, is they're gullible. They fall for it. And then when they leave, of course, you get the sombrero and mariachi memes that are floating around. And it's a knee slapper for all of us. And I think most average Americans absolutely see the humor. But you have Lawrence O'Donnell, who's waxing, who, by the way, who says Fortnite? Who uses that term in common everyday language? I mean, Julie gets mad at me because I will make a reference to Tommy Hilfiger, which apparently is no longer a fashion thing. But Lawrence O'Donnell, who is sadly completely American, I don't know, maybe he's Canadian. I have to look. Anyway, fortnight in British English means a period of 2 weeks. Within a fortnight, thou hast ye whatever. Who talks that way? Apparently Lawrence O'Donnell does. But the point here is that they are clutching their pearls over Trump 2028 baseball caps and mariachi memes, yet the polling just came out a few days ago. 56% of left-leaners think that it's okay to assassinate Donald Trump. Can we create a juxtaposition? Can we set those two things on the table and just those two things? If I sat down with Lawrence and I said, zip it for 2 minutes while I talk to you and talk directly to you, I'm going to set this on the table. Trump 2028 hats and mariachi memes over here. And then on this end of the table, I'm putting the fact that well over half of your people think that it's okay to kill a sitting president of the United States if you don't like them. Which one? It's a Pepsi challenge. Which one are you going to clutch your pearls over, Lawrence? Is it going to take you a fortnight to decide? This is why we're broken. They're upset over memes that this is an 80-20 issue. 80% of the country looks at this, at least the 80% that is not thinking that Trump should get assassinated. But the vast majority of the country looks at that and go, okay, that's pretty funny politics right there. That's pretty funny optics right there. We all do think that it's funny, and the left, they don't know what to do, because quite often, I say this with love, quite often we're the sticks in the mud. Like, I'm just going to be honest with you. We haven't been all that great at it. And yet their comedians are losing their shows, nearly getting canceled. The people that are supposed to put out the funny stuff on the left are now grumpy. They're mad. They're angry all the time. And speaking of angry all the time, we have George Slanderopoulos. And this was an interest. By the way, that is my new nickname for him. And it will be for a little while. But you had George Slanderopoulos. He was on with Mike Johnson. And this is a fascinating thing, because here you have George, who repeatedly mischaracterized what happened with Donald Trump's legal case with what's-her-name as he was found guilty of rape. Well, he was not. In no way was he found guilty of that horrible crime. And yet he kept repeating it. And Trump finally was like, you cannot just keep saying this. It's slanderous. So ABC had to settle with President Trump for millions and millions. I think, 16 million, something like that. So I would say that George Slanderopoulos' dedication to truth might be a little in question. It might be a little tainted about whether or not George sits at that important desk in America at ABC News and is dedicated to bringing the truth to America. So when he says stuff like this, it makes you wonder.
Here are facts. Here are the facts. The proposal does not provide health care for illegal immigrants. Illegal immigrants cannot buy health care under the Affordable Care Act. They cannot receive health care subsidies. No. Illegal immigrants are ineligible for Medicare, Medicaid, and the Children's Health Program. The Democratic bill does not make them eligible.
It does, actually, because what it does is it unwinds the changes that Republicans put into the big, beautiful bill, the big signature legislation that we passed and signed into law on July 4th. That has been very successful in shoring up Medicaid for the people who are actually eligible to receive it. What we did in the bill, and the CBO just verified this 3 weeks ago, the Congressional Budget Office, the nonpartisan arbiters of everything up here, they said that those provisions have helped to reduce premiums. Why? Because we got ineligible recipients off of Medicaid, illegal aliens, and able-bodied young men who are riding the wagon who are not eligible to be there. Medicaid is intended for specific populations of U.S. citizens. That is young, pregnant women who are down on their luck, the disabled, and the elderly, those resources are being drained from those folks, and so we fixed that. We reduced fraud, waste, and abuse in the program. Chuck Schumer's counterproposal on the CR would reverse that. That is a simple fact.
The CBO did not say that about illegal immigrants. You've made your point right there.
Okay, so George, who now is just perpetually angry, and he was even before he was slapped with the slander penalty. He's gone, he used to be kind of I used to like George Stephanopoulos. He was Clinton's chief of staff. I remember kind of following him, and he was one of the more likable guys, but he's just gotten mad and angry and grizzled, kind of like the David Letterman trajectory. And now almost every appearance, especially if he's interviewing a Republican and a Trump Republican, he just has these jowls out, and his glasses are on, and they're kind of down on his nose, and there's just this constant aroma of anger that comes up from George Stephanopoulos. And it's not a good look, but what it means is we are winning. Because when he says that's not what the Democrats are putting forward, well, maybe not explicitly, they'd be stupid to write down on a document that would be included in the deal, we want to give illegals health care. I mean, they wouldn't say that, but you know what I'm saying. What they want to do, though, is roll everything back to a situation in which illegals were getting health care. Is there a difference? Functionally, is there a difference if I can't think of an analogy right now, but is there a functional difference between them explicitly in a document, in a law, in a bill that gets passed, saying we want illegals to have health care, between that and just insisting an outcome in which illegals get health care? There's no functional difference. And that's the word game that the media is trying to play today. They're trying to tell you, well, it doesn't say it explicitly and what they're putting forward. Well, no kidding. Moron. I mean, come on. But that's the outcome that they're seeking. And I do have to tell you, I think Mike Johnson's done a pretty good job of managing the optics and the messaging through this. They're back at a press conference this morning, and he's going after the Democrats over the shutdown. We'll listen into just a bit of this. This is from a little bit earlier this morning.
Just a few months ago. The bill was signed into law July 4th, and we cut all of that out. Let me tell you what some of those things are. The Democrats' counterproposal CR, the dirty CR we call it, as opposed to the clean CR, would result in nearly $200 billion being spent on illegal aliens and other non-citizens. Let me be specific. This is just a few of the reforms that we put in that they want to repeal and reverse. Number one, a provision that closes the California loophole. Now, that's a provision that's also been adopted by states like New York and Michigan and Massachusetts. Other states have followed, other blue states. The California loophole allows taxpayer-funded Medicaid for illegal aliens. We eliminated that in the big, beautiful bill. Their counteroffer is to repeal and reverse that. That would cost $34 billion.
Okay, he's making the same exact point that we've been talking about. They want the functional outcome to be illegals get health care, taxpayer-funded in America. Period. Doesn't matter what they write on a piece of paper. If they want to roll back the situation in America so that the money can start flowing from taxpayers to illegals getting health care, that's what they want to do. Whatever you want to call it, putting it in, whatever, blah, 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 blah. The outcome is that. And as long as this message stays crisp from the Republicans, we are going to win this thing. And, you know what? We absolutely can abide a few days of a government shutdown. I'm not sure our country could abide more years and years and years of funding and having pressure on our social safety nets from illegals that are coming through open borders. It doesn't work out. So, maybe we don't like we don't like the government shutdown. It feels clunky, and it causes a lot of irritation and cynicism. I get all that. But you cannot have... this is a difference between a flu that lasts 4 or 5 days, and a cancer that is chronic and ongoing. So we got to power our way through the flu, but we'll get there. We'll make it. It's Thursday. Good to have you along. Idaho Falls mayoral debate last night. Stand Up for Idaho hosted that. We've got some audio from it we'll bring to you. It's all coming up on News Talk 1079, 8:23 our time. Oops.
Are you trying to mix musics over there?
Oh, wiki. Yeah, I'm a music mixer. I know, you get mad at me. It's like...
We decided earlier this week you were retiring that.
If Lawrence O'Donnell can say Fortnite, then I can say wiki.
And you made fun of Lawrence O'Donnell, and I will make fun of you.
I will absorb that. That's totally fine. The election, Julie, is a little over 2 fortnights away. Mm-hmm. Is fortnight one of those words where the plural does not have an S at the end? Like moose? Like, it's 11 fortnight. Or is it fortnights?
No, I think there is no S.
So plural is the same as singular.
I think. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. What do you think made him bring that word to his mind? Was he reading Shakespeare?
No, he wants to sound smarter than everybody. That's what he wants to do. So he says, I shall thus therefore use the term fortnight here on the MSNBC.
Someone should tell him it clearly did not work.
I have to, you know what? I know I'm hosting a radio show, but I do have to look up. What is the plural of fortnight? Is it fortnights or it is fortnights.
Oh, there is an S.
At least according to Copilot, the plural of fortnight is fortnights. The term is used to refer to a period of 2 weeks. So.
Oh, someone is telling us that fortnight is actually used in other areas of the world. It's often used in Australia.
I heard that. Yeah, that's true. Well, they have gun control there, so who wants to listen to them?
I listened to a report this morning on gun control in Canada.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah.
They are calling it a voluntary buyback of the guns. There's no voluntary involved in this. The voluntary part is you can bring your gun in and get a couple of $100 for it.
Or they take it.
Or they come to your house and they get it. That's the voluntary part. But they're framing it as we're doing a voluntary buyback on all handguns.
What? See, now I learned a little bit because I traveled through vast tracts of Canada when I went up to Alaska and back earlier this year. And I wanted to take my 9mm just to have it in the car. I didn't think, anything bad was going to happen, but you just like to have that reassurance. So I did some research. You were here in the room when I was researching it. And then in about 2 minutes, I'm like, I'm not taking my 9mm through there. Like there's so many regulations if you want to do it. And even then, they're going to look at you like, and so I'm like, all right, I had to make a calculated decision, and I realized that me with a stick is probably more dangerous than a Canadian with a gun.
Unless it's like a rifle, a deer hunting gun.
Yeah, right. That's true.
Maybe that's better.
Yeah. I'm just kidding. I love my Canadian friends. That was just a dumb joke. So relax a little. It's okay. So I took a stick with me.
Had a baseball bat in the back.
Yeah, there you go. No, but no. And my buddy Steve, he said that I think they shipped their guns from Alaska here rather than took them with them in their.
It's too difficult
in their cargo because it was just too. I'd have to follow up with him in that.
Man, that makes me uncertain. I could not live somewhere.
Well, I think, I mean, here's the thing. Alberta I can't speak for all of Alberta, but there is a sentiment in Alberta that is very different than the rest of the provinces up there. And I think they would love to be a state in the United States. Mm-hmm. Which is, you know what? That would make our country look like a middle finger, wouldn't it?
It would.
I mean, kind of.
He means the shape, like the outline of the country.
Right, exactly. Not that I approve of that gesture, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, Alberta's very conservative.
Yeah.
And they happen to have a big chunk of the natural resources in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Oil, they do a ton of agriculture up there, and I'm sure there's mineral resources. And so, I mean, there is a lot of talk out. There's like a legitimate effort to secede from Canada up there, but maybe what we got to do is just invade.
That's what I was going to say. Do we just go to war? It will happen way faster.
I mean, we go in and Alberta would be like, okay, you can have us.
They're like dogs and they roll over with the paws in the air.
Here you go.
Scratch my belly.
We'll become part of the United States now. We're all right with that. I actually like Alberta. I will tell you it's weird. I experienced this as a kid when we took a family trip up to Calgary, and we went into Jasper and Banff and just a beautiful area. But I remember crossing the border and going into Cardston. And Cardston, I'm looking around. There's like kids with BYU shirts on. Mm-hmm. There's a temple up on a hill. There, like it feels like you're in Tremonton, kind of.
Yeah.
And you could say that Cardston is Alberta's Tremonton. And it's a Mormon settlement.
Yeah.
And it has lasted through the generations that you drive through there. And it feels very much like it could be a small Mormon community that you drive through in Idaho or Utah. Mm-hmm. It's kind of just sort of an odd feeling when you go through. But
wow.
And politically, they're very conservative up there.
Okay.
So
I'm not holding my breath. Same way I'm not holding the breaking apart of Oregon and having part of it become Idaho.
Yeah. Although Greater Idaho could be Alberta, current Idaho.
It would be such a huge state.
It'd be a weird shape.
Yeah, with a little bottleneck halfway through.
Yeah, that's true. So anyway, how are you this morning?
I'm good.
Are
you
you?
Never know where this show is going to go.
You really don't. It's and this week's been very weird, and I don't know quite why.
I think everybody's off. I feel like the world, quite honestly, I feel like the world shifted in 2020.
Yeah.
Somehow we got off the appropriate timeline. We took an exit we weren't supposed to take, and we're still trying to get back onto the appropriate timeline.
It's true.
We're trying to find that on-ramp, and it's not happening. And over the last 3.5 weeks, we had another reminder of, you're in the wrong part of the timeline.
Yeah, that's true. It's like a psychological thriller movie with time travel, and we're just trying to get back home.
Just trying to get it all to be right and normal again.
We're in some vortex somewhere.
It has yet to happen.
So let's talk really quick about the Idaho Falls debate last night. Stand Up for Idaho. I feel like based on our scan, we didn't watch the whole thing. We weren't there. But from what I can see and people who were there, sounded like Jeff, I don't know if you declare a winner in these kinds of things,
right.
But I think that Jeff had a very good showing, Jeff Aldridge. And of course,
I think it is his crowd.
It is. The room was with him. And so that makes sense. And I think I don't think they were necessarily hostile to Lisa Burton Shaw, but they were very more supportive of Jeff, right? So it will be interesting because there's a city club debate coming up, and that's going to switch. You've got the city club crowd is probably more Lisa's. Those are two flavors that mix better, and Jeff will be the.
Yeah. The hold your tea cup with your pinky out crowd.
Yeah,
it's going to be at the city club.
Yes, that's what it will be. And Jeff will probably be treated like an
radical,
unwashed peasant when he walks through the door. So I think that'll be a good test for him. It's probably easy to have a good showing when the crowd's with you and
sure.
They like you. So this will be a good test for Jeff coming. I don't remember what the date is, but
I don't remember either.
Yeah.
But this is why you do those things, because quite frankly, the mayor needs to be able to stand up in all atmospheres.
Yeah, I agree.
Not just amongst their little crowd of cronies that make them feel good about themselves.
True.
We've got an issue with that regionally.
You're going to be the mayor of the people in City Club and Stand Up for Idaho.
Yeah, so I would hope that both Jeff and Lisa and Christian, they're willing to be the mayor for everyone, not just their little group of buddies.
Yeah. Which, of course, there's Stand Up for Idaho, and then the other group, which is Leave Idaho Hanging Out to Dry. That's the name. That should be the name of another political group. Leave Idaho Hanging Out to Dry. Okay, sorry, I'm driving Julie.
I got a joke in my head, and I cannot say it.
You know, which is like true of most of our jokes, aren't they?
Yeah, often.
Like the jokes we tell on the air, that's only about 20% of the jokes we have in our heads. It's terrible. So, yeah. See, we're going to take a break now because I want to hear the jokes. So we'll be back after this. It's 8:36 on News Talk 1079. I just unblocked the phone line, so if you want to call in, we'd love to hear from you this morning. 208-542-1079. All righty, it's 8:42 now on News Talk 1079. Neal Larson along with Julie Mason, and let's jump right to the phones. Hi, caller. How are you today?
Doing good. How are you?
We're doing pretty well. What's on your mind?
Oh, okay. I don't want to take a lot of your time, but I got a lot of things I want to say. First of all, you made a statement about, like, Joe, that Behar gal.
Yeah.
She's like, we're in this terrible one. We're not going to survive it. I really wish we could sit down with these people and say, okay, am I missing something? My wife and I discuss this a lot of times. What are we missing? They call, we're fascists, we're Nazis, am I missing something? Have we really been duped? And I just don't see it. And that frustrates me.
I gotcha.
We feel ya.
This is my very cynical reaction to what you're saying. I don't care anymore. I like to sit down and to try to understand them. Because I don't feel like I am missing anything. I think they're the ones that are missing something. And maybe that's me with a closed mind. I look at that. But these are people repeatedly that have very little to offer. And so that might be like a not nice thing to say and a terrible thing to say. But at this point, I think we need to be firm in what we believe, have clarity, and move forward and share our message and our influence. And that's kind of where I'm at.
Well, and this situation with Charlie Kirk, I think what it has done for many of the Christians across the country, we've turned the other cheek. We've tried to be nice. We don't want to pick a fight. We don't. And all of a sudden, that's not working. And so with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, it's like it's time to step forward and say, enough is enough. We're not going to be bullied and pushed around. We want open dialogue. We want to be able to talk, but you're not going to sit here and browbeat us to death.
Yeah.
So, and then on a local note, everything I'm hearing and looking into, like with the mayor race, and it's just my opinion, but if we vote in Burtonshaw, we just get the same old Casper City Council rhetoric of what we've been doing. And that's not working. So we need to find some new people.
Okay. Well, thank you for the call. I appreciate that.
On reference to the Charlie Kirk thing, because we went over several things in that phone call.
Yep.
I watched a news report that today is the National Take Your Bible to School Day. And they are anticipating this to not just be the biggest response by teenagers or preteens taking a Bible to school, but it's going to shatter any previous responses of these kids doing this.
Good.
So we do need to recognize the differences that are made by the evils that occur in this world.
Yeah.
And continue to help those differences thrive. Meaning kids should be 100% supported in this. You need to, in your circle of influence, find ways for the kids to express their Christianity and empower them to not be scared to go to church. Empower them to not be scared, to stand strong to their values, to do it kindly, and to do it in sophisticated dialogue, but to stand firm. You don't need to change because someone's trying to bully you into that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that, I think, speaks exactly to my first point about Joy Behar. And I look at it and you might think, okay, we were taught that growing up, you shouldn't ridicule people. You shouldn't mockery. And I would agree with that 99.9% of the time. But when that suddenly becomes the only language that can be spoken, then that's the only language that can be spoken. And I'm not willing to lose my country because I was taught to be nice as a kid. And this whole stuff about the sombrero and Hakeem Jeffries and all of that, they're not responding to anything else. They're not. They are absolutely unworkable. These are not people that ever show up and negotiate in good faith. They just don't. So you have to handle them like this. You may disagree, but I don't believe that you can trust Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer to show up and engage in good faith with you.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hey, it's Brad from Now 105.1 and QP99. I'm in the studio here. I love our studios, by the way. Ranger Rick back there. There's Neal and Julie doing their thing. Hey, when you want to advertise on the radio, what do? You call the radio station, right? But what do you do when you want to advertise on Facebook and Instagram and Hulu and Disney Plus and Peacock and the other TV streaming services? You can kind of click around on them and make guesses or read books or take courses online on how to do that advertising. Or you could call us at the radio station. At Sandhill Media, we take care of your local radio and digital marketing. So reach out to us at sandhillmediagroup.com and we'll make sure that your message gets heard and seen wherever your customers are.
I don't think you can, and I'm going to make a left turn here. You're going to be surprised at what I'm going to say. But I think the reason, one of the red flags to this that you go, these guys we can't work with them, is they can't take a joke.
Yeah.
They can't even figure out how to laugh. They're so filled with bitterness and hatred. The best response to the sombrero thing would have been to have had fun with it.
Yeah.
But instead they acted like, oh, that's so hurtful. Say it to my face. For me, that's a red flag in a human. If you can't laugh a little bit about yourself,
yeah.
Why do Mormons laugh about the people dressing up as missionaries at sporting events?
Right.
Because we can laugh at ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a little quirky that we send kids out in white shirts and ties with name tags and ask them to belong to our church. It's a little quirky, effective, yet quirky, and we can laugh about it. That's not a red flag.
Yeah.
It's a red flag when someone is so entrenched in their beliefs they can't even crack a smile.
Yeah. It's why I find Donald Trump's Pocahontas stuff about Elizabeth Warren hilarious. Mm-hmm. Hilarious. Like they really don't have good senses of humor.
Yeah. Well, I think the stage is only so big, and when you're so infused with hatred, you're stuck there.
Yeah, that's true. You're locked in. Your mind can't get out of that, can it?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's so if they can't laugh about it, if they can't absorb it and be playful back,
mm-hmm.
they probably should just be quiet.
Yeah.
Because the more they complain about it, it just makes me want to share more memes.
Are you and most of Republicans?
Yeah. I also think there's an element, too, where the Democrats worked really hard and they were effective for a while, creating this rule that if you make any joke at all and there's a racial angle to it, not racist, but a racial angle to it, then it's racist and you're a bigot. And Hakeem Jeffries played right into it. He said, well, that's a bigotry, blah, blah, blah. And we talked about this yesterday. No, it's actually Donald Trump that's mocking your pandering of the Hispanic community.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the funny part is that you're pandering to them and trying to buy their votes through this scheme that would roll us back to a situation where we are paying for illegals' health care. And we're mocking the left's constant pandering to these groups. I firmly believe that cultures are durable. And they can see that, and they can laugh at things like that. You would find some that are offended, but they're probably usually offended at things. But just the average person out there would look at that and go, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, I think they're laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, it's 8:50 on News Talk 107.9. You want to join us? 208-542-1079 is the number to call. And I got to look. We have so much audio, I can't load it all at the same time because my brain can't narrow in on one thing. So I have to load like 3 and 4 at a time. I've had to change my approach here. It's not your fault, but you'll send me 20 to 25
There's
clips.
So much.
And I'm like, I don't know how to handle all of these all at once. So we could talk. Oh, so the left is trying to respond with cat memes. Video cat memes. Listen to this.
Republican and Democrat kiddies cannot agree on what should be funded. Democrat kiddies want you to have health care. Republican kiddies do not. Republican kiddies control the Senate, House, and the White House, so they're using that to cut your health care and give money to billionaires. Democrat kitty tries to negotiate, but Republican kitty keeps running away. He has a vacation to get to. Uh-oh, suddenly the money you pay for your health insurance has tripled. Thanks, Republicans.
They're trying. They're trying. They need better social media managers.
Yeah, they are trying.
Because first off, I think it's weird they used that voice. That's a TikTok voice or an auto-generated voice that you can voice your words, and it's a very common voice. It's a weird one to use when you're being playful with kitties.
Right.
So they don't quite understand the voice choice there. And I racked my brain last night trying to figure out why they chose kitties. I don't understand.
I don't know. I don't either. I mean, I know you kind of get the point they're trying to make, but you don't see the connection to why it's funny.
Well, in an AI world, you could have done cartoon characters.
Yeah.
With a different voice. I actually think it might have landed.
Maybe. Not nearly as much as the sombrero.
Not as much as the sombrero.
Yeah, but you might have made a little dent back.
Yeah, this just, you watched it and you were left going, did I miss the joke? I don't get it. Like, you don't quite understand what they were going for.
Yeah. Well, Gavin Newsom shared a meme of J.D. Vance. And they used AI to color his face green, put these wide-rimmed glasses and like an Uncle Sam hat on. And they upped the pitch of his voice. This is what it was.
If you're flying today, I hope, of course, you arrive safely and on time, but you may not arrive on time because the TSA and the air traffic controllers are not getting paid today. Our military is not getting paid today, starting today. And obviously, the longer this drags on, the worse that it is for the American people.
Okay, in the same way, tell me why that's funny. It's kind of a cute little funny voice, but tell me the point that he's trying to make here.
I don't know. You know what's weird also about J.D. Vance is whenever anything is done like this about him, he turns around and shares it and makes fun of it.
Yes.
So you're kind of picking the wrong victim here. I wouldn't mess around with J.D. Vance, Elon Musk. I wouldn't. And Rubio's beloved at this point.
Oh, yeah.
By 99% of the country. So you got to be hands off there. So figure out who you can attack. You can attack Donald Trump. You just don't do a good job at it. And you probably need to find some other villains because those other three, you can't really go after.
Yeah, that's true. Have you ever had someone in your life, Julie? You're the wrong person to ask because you wouldn't do this, but I'll just ask generically about a situation. You pretend to like someone because it's easier to do that than if you just are your natural reaction to that. You really don't really like them all that much. You may not even be able to stand them all that much. But if you express that, it makes your life harder.
Right.
So you're like, okay, I just got to play the game and pretend I like them. I feel like there's a big portion of America that has been doing that with the Democrat Party for years now. It's like, well, I don't want to get canceled. It's an uphill battle to say things they don't like because they come after you and you become an outcast and whatever. And I feel like we've busted that structure down. I feel like that it's okay now to actually look at the Democrats, and if you don't like them, to say you don't like them. And it's turning out that there's a lot of people that have felt that way.
Yeah. And other people, I believe, are listening to that going, I don't really like him either. But they might be in a situation where they can't say it out loud.
Yeah.
But I think in their private thoughts, they're like, wow, we're not funny. Or what are we doing? Why are we fighting so much for illegal immigrants?
Yeah.
I think those thoughts are happening in their brains. They're just stuck in this circle of friends and family that they can't express it.
Yeah, right. They're just in a tough situation now. So, all right, it's 8:56 on News Talk 107.9. 208-542-1079 is the number if you'd like to reach us on the program. We'll be back. We'll wrap up this hour, but we've got the 9 o'clock hour ahead right here on News Talk 107.9. All right, 8:59.
It is not normal to shut down the government when we don't get what we want.
If the government shuts down, it will be average Americans who suffer most.
Shutdowns are not good for the economy.
Families will be hurt. Farmers will be hurt. Everyday Americans whose lives were turned upside down by extreme weather events like hurricanes and floods and wildfires will be hurt.
That, of course, is a previous version of all of those politicians because they are shutdown fluid, apparently, Julie. Can you apply that term to them? They're just fluid when it comes to how they feel about shutdowns. So I love playing these montages because the hypocrisy is so naked.
I think that there was a time frame, and it wasn't that long ago. I would say 6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago, it was easier for these politicians to lie. And here's why. It was a lot harder to collect the data, collect the information, and immediately spit it back out. Give the video, give the clip, give the time that they spoke it. We live in an instantaneous world. You could have found all of those different politicians saying something about it with a chat GPT version of AI in probably 4 minutes.
Yeah, it's true.
That's how quick it happens.
Yeah.
They can't lie like they used to.
We can collect the receipts a whole lot faster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good point. By the way, this is Sean Farish, excuse me. He is the Trump impersonating comedian, which to my knowledge, that's kind of all he does as part of his act. And we got to paint the visual for you. It's a selfie video. He's in a very colorful poncho and a sombrero. And on top of the sombrero, the point part that goes up, probably has a name, but is a Trump 2028 baseball cap.
Resting on the top, yeah.
So here it is.
Hola, mi fellow Americanos, y bienvenidos al cierre de Schumer. That means welcome to the Schumer shutdown. We call it the Schumer siesta, right? It's the Schumer siesta. He put the government on siesta, crying Chuck. And El Hakimo Jefe Jeffries, we used to call him Dollar Store Obama, till we realized he's worth far less than $1. But they put the government on siesta to give illegal aliens your health care. We're not going to let it happen. I looked at both of them. I said, we're not going to let it happen. It's no bueno. I said, it's no bueno. They begged me. They said, but senor, por favor, please give illegal aliens the health care. I said, we're not going to do it. We're never going to do it. It's not going to happen. And they're also very upset about our big, beautiful sombreros. You look at them. These are the greatest sombreros the world has ever seen. We really have the best sombreros, and everybody wants one except Crying Chuck and El Hakimo Jefe Jeffries. They don't want one, but they're going to wear one when all is said and done. We're going to end the siesta. We're going to reopen the government, and we will not give in to the demands of Chuck and El Jefe. We're not going to do that. Thank you. God bless you. Dio lo bendiga, and God bless America. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
He ends everything with thank you for your attention to this matter.
He's so good.
He's really good.
It's very funny. So, okay, you have an idea for a flashbulb.
Well, I was thinking we had played some clips from the Stand Up for Idaho forum. I think is how you would present what happened last night between the 3 mayoral candidates from Idaho Falls. But our listening base is far greater than Idaho Falls. We have people all over the place. But I felt like one of the questions that was presented last night at the forum is relative to everyone, not just Idaho Falls.
Yep.
And the question was, I'm not going to get the words verbatim, but should law enforcement be arresting or helping ICE with arresting illegal immigrants in the area? They each took a little bit different stance. It clearly was Jeff's crowd, and he gave just a one-word answer, and he got applause for it. But those responses led me to think, I would love to know what our audience thinks about that. Do you feel like you should wait until they commit a criminal offense and then bring ICE in, meaning an additional criminal offense, then bring ICE into, in this case, it would be the county jail in Bonneville, but in other areas, it would be a different county jail. Or if you know of an illegal immigrant who is working or not even working, just here, and didn't go about the proper steps to be in East Idaho, do you feel like law enforcement should step in? Or should I step in our area?
How do you feel about it?
Here's where I feel like this gets a little bit sticky. I feel like our legislature needs to tighten all of this up, because I believe we do have illegals here working. I'm sure there's some that are just here being nefarious and criminal and everything. But I do believe we have illegals here working, and we have not required businesses to do the appropriate things quite yet. And we've made the process a little bit too difficult for those illegals, and that puts them in a bad situation. And they might actually be really great people doing really great things.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure we have done all the necessary steps in our processes to feel like we have the right or the means to just go around snagging people.
Right. After a while, non-enforcement feels like permission.
Compliance.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Like it feels like you're saying, you know what, we're always just going to be looking the other way. And they're lax on border security. They were, not are now, but over time, they were lax on border security. And a lot of local communities even created a sanctuary city. So the point here is, like, you can look at the law and say, you're here illegally, deport you now. I get that. But these are people. Okay, these are human beings. Mm-hmm. They've established a life. They have families. There's a very human
kids going
element.
to school.
And if because I have one set of laws and rules that I abide by, which is Idaho code and our federal regulations, and even some of them I disagree with, you still abide by those, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I also have another set of rules, which is we're all God's children, and we should work really hard to keep families together. And so there's a clash. In certain instances, you can have a clash between those two value systems or mm-hmm. even legal, because they call it God's law. It's not God's value system. It is God's law. And so I think that can be a conundrum when those two things clash.
Right.
So for me, I would look at it and say, well, if let's say you're a sheriff's deputy and somebody comes up to you and says, this person over here is illegal. What do you do as the deputy? Because it's not your job to enforce federal law. That's ICE, that's Border mm-hmm. Patrol, that's the federal agencies that we have. You know they're breaking the law. And does their oath require them to uphold federal law? I mean, it's the Constitution that they swear an oath to. But they may not be well versed in all of the federal laws. And so I think the happy medium has been, you have federal law enforcement, and they ask for assistance from the local law enforcement, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of jurisdictions around the country are like, yeah, we'll help that out. But in my mind, the federal government needs to take the lead on this because it's their stewardship to enforce federal laws.
Mm-hmm.
And then in those moments when they need to detain someone or they know a location of an illegal, and they ask the local law enforcement, will you just go and apprehend this person? We'll pick them up this afternoon or tomorrow or something. I fully agree with that. I think that's fine. At the same time, it does get a little bit tricky in what we expect of our local law enforcement when it comes to them trying to take the lead in enforcing federal law.
It would be interesting to know what the relationship is between local law enforcement and ICE agents in this area, because that's going to vary from area to area to area. But it would be interesting to know what the relationship is, and is it a frequent conversation? Does local law enforcement call up ICE and say, hey, so-and-so lives at this address. I know they are not documented, and we're a little concerned about their behavior. Could you go check? Or is local law enforcement pretty much just hands off and not really communicating with ICE?
I think they don't reach out to ICE, but ICE reaches out to them.
So it's just a one.
I think so.
One-way conduit.
I could be wrong, but my impression is our local deputies are out there catching people speeding, catching people with drugs, catching people committing burglary, domestic disturbances, and all of that. I don't think their bandwidth primarily day to day is, and we're looking for illegals. So I don't think they're initiating that with ICE unless the person is committing other crimes and they want them out.
Yeah, because they could have a tip that this guy is a known drug dealer, but they haven't been able to get this guy yet.
Right. I think in their pursuit of other crimes, if they come across someone who's illegal, then they'll make the phone call to ICE. Mm-hmm. But I don't know just that knowledge alone triggers a phone call to ICE.
The simple knowledge of this person is not documented.
Because you know what? Do you know, right now we're in the middle of potato harvest. Mm-hmm. If you went out to all the farmers harvesting potatoes and said, okay, we're going to check the legal status of every single one of your employees, I guarantee you would find some workers here who are not legal. I don't think deputies are interested in going out and doing that right now because it creates ill will. You're going to disrupt their harvest. You're going to, and so I don't think that's their highest priority right now.
So now we're back to the way I explained it, which is we have created some casual relationships between undocumented or illegal immigrants and farmers, employers. So I wish we would tighten those up a little bit. I think if you want to use that labor, it's enough to expect you to tighten it up a little bit.
Yeah, I would agree.
And we failed at that so far.
And you know what? Maybe you don't turn it on a dime. Maybe you say, okay, you finish out the year, but beginning next year, we are going to be more heavily scrutinizing the legal status of your workers. So you've got to figure out what you're going to do for your labor pool. Meanwhile, Congress needs to create something better so that it doesn't work what they're doing right now. They have a program, they have a plan, but it's clearly not working because we continue to have these issues.
Yeah, I would agree.
So what's our question for the flash poll?
I don't know.
What should local law enforcement's posture be when it comes to illegals?
Sure. It can just be open and people can call and say what they feel.
All right. We'll do that. Actually, we're getting close to our break time. So we'll do that. We'll let people kind of let that marinate for a few minutes here while we take a commercial break. And, think about that. What should our local law enforcement do when it comes to illegal immigration? I think that's a very fair question. Mm-hmm. But right now, I want to talk to some former nuclear workers that are here in Idaho. If you worked at the Idaho National Lab or maybe at a uranium site, you might qualify for compensation of up to $400,000 and no-cost health care benefits through a federal program. It's called EOPA. The actual letters for this is EEOICPA. It stands for Energy Employee Occupational Illness Compensation Program Act. And it was created to help energy workers who got sick from exposure to things like radiation, asbestos, or beryllium. The program provides both financial compensation and full medical benefits to cover in-home care, prescriptions, medical supplies, and even equipment. And that's where CNS Cares comes in. They're a local trusted home health care provider that knows the program inside and out, and they'll guide you every step of the way, from confirming your eligibility to filing your claim to providing in-home care, medical supplies, and even caregiver support for family members. With their team by your side, you don't have to take on the federal paperwork alone. So don't wait. Call CNS Cares today. Find out what benefits you may be entitled to. Their phone number is 208-271-5018. Let me give that to you again, 208-271-5018. Or you can Find them online, cnscares.com. That is cnscares.com. Who you choose matters, and talk to the team. Who cares? We'll be back after this. It's 9:21.
Have you seen this story?
No. That's terrifying.
Had dozens of bites from this great white. Do you remember the interview with the man who said if you died by grizzly, it would be a noble death?
Yeah.
This guy sounded exactly this, or this researcher sounded exactly the same. Was all kind about the shark, and she was just doing what she needed to do, and his whole head was inside her mouth.
Wow. What is wrong with that? I think the exact words were, what a glorious way to die.
Yeah. Uh-oh, see? We talked about this.
Oh. That's a big drone.
Okay, an Amazon drone crashed.
Free stuff. Loot.
I don't know if people are going to be brave enough to call in and say how they feel about this.
Really?
Yeah, were you going to sneeze?
Trying. Almost. Oh, it was right there. Here we go. 9:24 now on News Talk 1079. Neal Larson along with Julie Mason. And we're back. Julie's feeling like our listen might be a little hesitant to call in, you think?
I'm worried that we're not going to get a lot of response on this. People are texting in, so we've got some to read on text. Oh, okay, maybe I'm going to be wrong. I just worry that people, it's such a nuanced topic. You have to really measure your words.
Yeah, it's true. All right, let's go to the phones, 208-542-1079. How should local law enforcement handle illegal immigration? And let's go to our... Oh, they hung up already.
Oh, maybe I scared them.
Yeah. Someone said illegal is illegal. If they come in contact with them, arrest them and get them out.
Yeah. I can't read this text. It won't load. But someone is talking about what if someone in their house in their household is committing a theft? What do you do? Oh, it says if someone is in a household commits a crime like grand theft, first crime committed, would we still argue the family needs to stay together? So no penalty for that criminal. I would have empathy for that person, but also expect justice. Yeah. So that's in reference to your point that we want to keep families together. Well, we don't do that when people commit everyday crimes all the time.
That's true. That's true. I also want to ask a question. Not so much to argue, but I want this person to really think about this. Mm-hmm. Do you expect what would you do if our local sheriff's deputies were out looking for federal environmental regulation violations?
Would you feel differently?
Do you want them to report that pond you have to the EPA, or if they see antifreeze in your driveway, do you want them? I mean, and that's probably illegal locally according to DEQ laws, but do you want our local deputies enforcing EPA regulations too?
Yeah.
Or just the federal regs you like? So, all right, let's go to our next caller. Caller, how are you today? Oh, that was my fault entirely. Okay, go ahead, caller.
Is this me?
It's you, yeah. You're up.
Okay, hey. It's Big Mike. How are you guys today?
Good, Big Mike. Good to hear your voice.
Hey, thank you. I'm actually working right now, so I hope I'm not coming in a little bit late on this, but I wanted to talk about the illegals and being picked up. If you're illegal, I can see on one side, you got to go. If you're a criminal, for sure, you got to go. I'm experiencing right now, my daughter had gotten into a relationship with an illegal, has 3 little boys, and now a little girl that's just 2 months old. I'm actually raising them myself because he was deported, and we're trying to get him back. The crazy thing is a few months ago, I guess he's been gone about 5 months. So 7 months ago, he was in a court of law getting custody over 2 other children. So I don't know where that mix-up went, why they couldn't square it up and take care of it while he was at court then. But, it is kind of a sideways thing when you look at it. One way, man, families are being affected by good men that work hard for their family, and he's one of them. getting picked up. And in fact, when I talked to the ICE agent that picked him up, my daughter immediately called me, so I left church and headed over there. And he's like, look, this guy isn't a guy that we were looking for. He's not a criminal. He's not, but he was on the list, so we had to do our job. So there are some dominoes that fall that can really affect a lot of families.
Yeah. Well, Big Mike, thank you. I appreciate that.
What a conundrum.
It is. That's a tough situation.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Let's go to the next caller. Welcome. You're on the show. Go ahead.
Hi there. Long-time listener, first-time caller. So my view on immigration is a little interesting because I was born in Germany, and my mother immigrated to Germany by marrying an American soldier, my dad. But she still had a green card and didn't get automatic citizenship. She still had to learn the language here. She still had to pay taxes here. She still had to go through all the loops that we have to go through to become an American. It's a right that we shouldn't take for granted. Because if we're just giving all this money and all these resources to people who aren't American citizens while we're letting our own American citizens, tax-paying citizens, contributing citizens go by the wayside, be homeless or be suffering disabled veterans, I think it's ridiculous. We need to focus on ourselves.
Okay. That's an interesting perspective.
And I've heard this perspective before, that this way that we've been handling immigration is so disrespectful to the people that did it appropriately.
It is. Well, it is. And I mean, it sort of begs the question here. And I think we want to look at all angles to this. I don't think our local deputies should go out just looking for everybody, and if they can find an illegal, let's deport them. I don't know that that's the best approach here. At the same time, just being a decent person doesn't qualify you to be of equivalent status as a citizen. Mm-hmm. Being a citizen means something, and it's something more than just I'm a decent person who doesn't break other laws. And so I didn't get an Eagle Scout award because I was nice. Mm-hmm. Okay, I had to do things to get it. I didn't win.
Even when they were annoying and you didn't love it.
I didn't win my Olympic gold medal because I was a nice person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a great point.
Yeah, I know.
It is such a complex issue because people take a very hard stance of just get rid of them all. If you didn't do it right, out. But there are laws, and the laws exist for a reason. So you understand why those people said it, but you also understand why you want to help and aid the people who are trying to do it right.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to also point out the system is so bogged down.
It is bogged down.
People will file, and it will take years to get a response. Their hearings will be put out months and months and months.
Yeah.
The system is broken.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Then that's part of the problem. Someone says this: if you're here illegally, you're a criminal. True. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't say the word criminal is equivalent across the board. If you rob a bank, you're a criminal. That doesn't make being here illegally on the same par as robbing a bank or killing someone or whatever. So you have to prioritize. And I would say if someone's here illegally, yeah, they're committing a crime. But it's a low priority. If that's all they're doing, they should be deported, but they're way down on the list.
So many ahead of them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or I say deported, or let's find a way that they can,
Yeah.
Boy, we've got a lot of texts on this.
Did somebody took, and I knew as soon as I said it, somebody would take issue with it, but I said undocumented, and then I corrected myself and said illegal immigrant. They said undocumented is an incorrect term. Illegal alien is a legal term. Law enforcement should treat these people like anyone else who breaks the law. Do we call people who rob a bank as people who performed an undocumented cash withdrawal?
That's a really good point.
It's a great point.
I didn't rob a bank. I just made an undocumented withdrawal.
See, I knew we'd have this portion of people. We have several texts that are, you broke the law, you broke the law. It's a natural consequence to be sent back.
Yeah.
And I know there is there there's a strong contingent of people that feel that way.
Yeah.
That it is one of those crimes that has a very natural consequence.
Well, it does. Someone said it's about accountability. You may be a real good person, but as soon as you came into the country illegally, you knew the risk. You knew you might get caught, and you knew you might get sent back. I think that is a good point. It's not without risk.
Right. Right.
Can I go back to one other thing about my point about the deputies? And they're like, well, if they're breaking the law, you need to do it. We don't want deputies out looking for environmental violations, at least federal.
They've got
EPA.
enough on their plates.
I don't want deputies going out checking to see if people filed their taxes properly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not what local deputies do. That's the federal government's job to track that down. So why are they carving out an exception for people who are here illegally? Why do they want local deputies tracking that federal requirement down, but not our taxes, not environmental regs?
And once you've settled that in yourself, I'm back to my question that I can't answer, which is I want to know the current relationship between law enforcement and ICE agents.
Yeah.
I want to know how much communication is happening. Are they barely even talking to each other?
Yeah.
Where are we at in this process? And do we need to pull it back a little bit? Do we wish it was a little bit more?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Someone is saying I'm awfully close to quoting Jasmine Crockett.
When you were just fighting a criminal.
Well, no, it's crime, but so's jaywalking. But I'm not going to go after someone jaywalking the same way I would a bank robber.
Right.
I mean, an undocumented with cash withdrawer.
Cash withdrawer.
Okay, 934, 208-542-1079. Every single person that has worked on a farm growing up or in adulthood has worked with an illegal. My experience was awesome. They worked hard. They were great to be around. It's sad the Democrats have used them like pawns instead of trying to fix the system. Illegal, however, is illegal, and it must be addressed. See, I would agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Somebody else said we need to treat it the same way we do other laws like seatbelts or cell phones. Those are laws that cause lots of deaths and injuries to innocent people when they are broken. So when we are okay for the police changing those to primary rather than secondary charges, then I am okay with deporting someone who has not done other violations.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. That's true. Somebody is playing a gotcha game here because I want to read this, Julie. If I steal a 47-cent item from a gas station, I will still be charged with petty theft and face up to 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine. Same as if I stole $999.99 from that same store. Are they the same degree of crime? The law says they are the same. True, however, that's why you have judge's discretion. A judge is never going to throw somebody in jail for 6 months and make them pay a $1,000 fine because they stole a 47-cent item from a store, if that's all they've done. Now, if it's, in a series of crimes, that might be a different story. But just that alone, nobody's going to get that full penalty. And the point I'm making is actually underscored. We have room for discretion, prosecutorial discretion, sentencing discretion, so that we can create these gradations of seriousness about what people have done.
Now, and that takes me back to I want the question answered, how much are they working together?
Yeah.
Because you might, as local law enforcement, look past illegal immigrant A, B, C, and D, but we've seen him around doing some sketchy shiz, so we're ready to call ICE and get him out of here.
Right.
That's that discretion you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
This person said, I am Mexican. There is a large Mexican community in Southeast Idaho, and 90% are wonderful and law-abiding. I am a citizen, but if I had lived in Mexico, close to a country in which the government actively allowed me to walk right in, I would have done it to help my family. And so would you. Put yourself in their place.
True. But I would also add to that, knowing the consequences. I don't think you would do, because I had one of the most interesting flash polls that I've ever done in radio was probably 16, 17 years ago. And I said, again, immigration was a big issue. This is actually pre-Trump, but it was still it's always been this ongoing issue. So I asked this very scenario, I asked that of my audience. If you were in a country adjacent to, and maybe I said Mexico, and there is corruption there, and there are threats to your safety there.
Drug cartels.
If you could get into the United States, even if it's illegal, would you do it? If I remember right, it was around 70% of the respondents said, yeah, I would totally do it. So I would just say I agree with what this person's saying, but I'll also add that doesn't mean it's risk-free. You still could get caught. You still could get deported. Just because most of us would do it, we also have to absorb the fact that there may be consequences to that decision.
Yeah, and there are also one of the consequences you accept is that there will be presidential change.
Yeah.
There will be government change. We have elections on a regular basis. And so those rules are not always going to be in place. The rules might be enforced more heavily in certain times and not enforced at all, like the 4 years of Biden.
Yeah.
So that's part of the consequence that you take. But speaking to this person's concern, this is why we need to tighten it all up. We need to tighten up the legal part of it, not just the arrest. We need to tighten up how we handle those people. We need to improve the system so it's not 3 years to get through something.
Yeah.
Especially when the person is acclimating and becoming a full-on American citizen.
Yes.
Trying their best to become a full-on American citizen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Someone said, good point. I conceal carry into places it's not allowed, taking the risk that if I'm caught, I pay the price. Yeah.
That happens.
It does. It does happen. They're talking about sacrament meeting, aren't they? I'm just kidding. Too soon. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Kind of like speeding 4 or 5 miles now over the limit. You accept the consequences for it, but you take the risk anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. You're all starting to sound like Jasmine Crockett now. Because the left is the one that says it's like a misdemeanor. It's like a speeding ticket.
It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. And again, Julie, we are going to outlast our bumper music here.
There we go.
Yeah.
This is a very nuanced topic, which is why I brought it up for a flash poll, because we could have done other flash polls, but we can kind of guess how you guys are all going to feel about certain topics. And that doesn't make for good conversation and thought process.
Yeah.
And that was the point of doing this.
That's true. We don't want an echo chamber. Like I think it's important to have counter ideas. It's 9:40 on News Talk 107.9. We'll break for the news. We'll come back. We've got a lot more text to share with you. And maybe we'll revisit the mayoral debate from last night as well. It's all coming up on News Talk 107.9. Okay.
Man, we've received so many texts. We're back to the place where the texts aren't loading.
Yeah.
It's not, the text I want to read is it says, Neal, I think they are having local deputies help because, and then I can't see the rest of it. Okay, see this? Okay, another text that can't load right now. So we're waiting, but
I can finish the one you just had.
Oh, okay.
I think they are having local deputies help because they will know the lay of the land. So,
okay. This person started this text by, if they don't want to split families, send the whole family. I'm going to assume it carries on and says back or where. Okay. Well, just because, let's say in this case, the dad does criminal activity.
Yeah.
And it's not that simple. Like the kids might have been born here.
Yeah, true.
Or do we punish kids for their parents being idiots?
Yeah. There is no scenario where you get 100%.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a great point. Every single person that has worked on a farm growing up or in adulthood has worked with an illegal. My experience was awesome. They worked hard and were great to be around. It's sad the Democrats have used them like pawns instead of trying to fix the system. Illegal, however, is illegal and it must be addressed.
Yeah. You know, we won't do it today because we've done a lot on immigration. But I think a good flash poll question would be, is deportation the only solution to illegal immigration? Like, should every single illegal you can find be deported? Or should there be another pathway for, it's not even a pathway to citizenship. It could be a pathway to legal status, but because I think there's some people that the only thing that will satisfy them is they get deported and get in line.
We've had those texts. They want to send back the DACA kids that are currently now 30 years old.
Yeah.
They've worked. They've gone to college. And we have people who go that far. They want it clear back. DACA gone, everyone gone.
Yeah, right. And this is where my civic legal brain has a tug of war with my Jesus brain, which is
your Christian brain.
Yeah, your Christian brain and Christian law brain even. Because you think about it and it scratches an itch for us to say, well, you uphold the law. But then when you actually do what Christ said, which is to empathize and I can't imagine fracturing a fan. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it just... All right, I did not deliberately play Born in the USA after an illegal immigration flashpoll. That was not by design. It just happened that way. Welcome back. 208-542-1079 if you'd like to join us and be a part of the program. Very, very robust discussion here. There's not an easy solution to this. I was telling Julie over the break that on this issue, my civic legal brain has a little tug of war with my Christian brain because, you look at it and they're like, well, no, because our system breaks up families. Yeah, we typically only break up families when there's a bad person that
shouldn't be in the home anymore. And I have a hard time equating someone who commits armed robbery or drives drunk or whatever with someone who's genuinely trying to make a better life for their family, a decision that a lot of us honestly would probably make if we were in their position. So, and I'm not saying, you have to understand what I'm saying here. It's a true conundrum, which means I'm giving as much weight to the laws that say you can't be here legally or you can't be here. And if you stay here, it's illegal and it's crime, whatever. I'm honoring that. Like, I recognize that. It's truly a conundrum. And there's another part of me that says, man, why would we make children suffer and traumatized sending their father or their mother back home? It just, you see what I'm saying. I'm with you.
It's just a tough thing. And you wonder, what is the biggest injustice? What, depending on, and I think you have to look at a lot of things in life this way. If you have two general paths here, which pathway creates the biggest injustice? Leaving someone here who's illegal, that's injustice, right? Or tearing someone from their family and these kids no longer have a dad or a mom or, that's a tough discussion.
It's a really tough discussion, and it's filled with emotion because people have connections to other humans who have dealt with or felt pain or in some ways felt victimized. Yeah. So you've got that you've had wonderful experiences and you've been victims by people who have crossed illegally. Yeah. And that's a hard fix for people to come up with a solution. That's a hard path to get to a solution that's helpful to everyone.
Someone said, would Mexico allow us to enter illegally, or any other country they're coming from for that matter? The answer is no, which actually is kind of my point. These conundrums are created because we softened our border. That really is the problem here.
We've also made it possible for employers to skate.
Yeah, that's true too. We created a pretty strong magnet for people to come here illegally.
Yep.
The fight over the shutdown right now is about illegals getting health care, taxpayer-funded health care.
Yep.
So, yeah. All right, let's go to the phones. Hi, caller. How are you today?
I'm good. Just listening to you. Wouldn't it be the whole family that would go back, not just the father?
Not necessarily. I mean, you have situations where we have, the way natural-born citizen is interpreted is that if a child is born on American soil, they're a U.S. citizen. Now, Trump is challenging that, but you have kids that are U.S. citizens, but mom, dad may have been living here illegally for years in some cases. So it's not deport all of them or none of them. There are family situations where some should be deported under the law and others are legal to stay here.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for the call. 208-542-1079. Someone says, Neal doesn't want to fracture a family, so you commit a crime, no jail time for you. You have a family. I have no choice because I'm poor. I have no connections, so I sell drugs because I have no choice because of choices my parents made, but I have kids, so I shouldn't be torn from my family. My kids should be able to keep all the drug money I made because, okay, this is sort of ludicrous, all right? We're not, anybody who's committing those kinds of crimes, they're either going to jail or they're going to be deported, and they should, okay? We're not talking about criminals inside the home that should be deported. We're talking about otherwise kind, provident parents
working really hard that are not creating problems for their communities. All right. The harm that is caused by someone's presence is very different than the harm that's caused by someone out selling drugs or robbing banks or assaulting driving without
people.
a license. Or,
yes, all of that. So again, this equivalence that they're trying to make, I don't think you're honoring the discussion very well. Let's go back to the phones. Hi, caller. How are you? Oh, they're gone. That's how they are.
Yeah. Someone said if they had time to make 3 children, they could have become citizens. Okay, I appreciate that. Have you ever looked into the process? First off, it's incredibly expensive.
Yeah.
If they do not speak the language, they have to hire an additional person to help them do it all. It's not all just go down and file a simple piece of paper and then you become one.
Yeah.
It is a very lengthy process. Some people have waited years. I had a client who it took her 17 years to get all the way through the process.
Wow.
Now, she delayed sometimes. She would just keep there's filings that they do that just keeps them with their appropriate legal status to be here and working. And they're not actively working towards becoming a citizen. But it takes years.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. It's not easy. I mean, I created 5 kids, and that was really easy for me. So let's go to the phones. Hi, caller. How are you this morning?
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can, yes.
To answer the first question is, should local law enforcement be going into businesses and looking for people who are not here legally? My answer is no. And I have a couple of reasons for that. The first one being is I think they just tread on people who are here legally rights. I mean, how do you do that? I mean, I know people are here perfectly legal, but I just don't think that's good for them to do. That's my base answer for should local law enforcement go in and looking for illegal people.
Yeah, agreed. They don't want that. I mean, that's, and we already have a mechanism for that to happen. So,
yeah. Somebody texted in and said, my brother-in-law had to work through the citizenship process. It took him about 10 years, and it was so backlogged, he had to go back to Mexico for a bit.
Wow.
Because he couldn't get his paperwork filed.
Okay. Meaning
the system's broken.
The system couldn't. He probably did all his part.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take a break really quick here. We'll come back and we'll wrap it up on this Thursday morning, 9:53 our time on News Talk 107.9. All right, 9:55 now on News Talk 107.9. Let's talk about your windows. Are they leaking air? Maybe they're discolored. Maybe they're warping. Maybe you see condensation between the window panes. Well, before fall really gets going and winter hits, it's time to replace your old windows. And Advanced Window Products can help you do that, but you're going to want to get started very, very quickly.
And it's not just windows. They can do doors, sliding glass doors. They can do little porthole windows, massive windows, weird shaped windows. And that's because everything is custom made. They come out, they measure, they leave just the scant little bit around so that they make sure the window can go in. So they're not doing great damage to your exterior or interior when they change out the windows. I think that's very important to people.
Yeah.
And it's because it's so custom, you're getting exactly what you've asked for, and you're not having to retrofit in these weird situations.
If you will call today, you can get massive savings, $2,500 off. Sometimes it's $3,000 off. 10 windows or more. Call today, 208-852-8685. That's 208-852-8685. Or you can go online to advancedwindows.com and you can find out more from them. Again, it's Advanced Window Products. And by the way, financing is available if you can't pay for the entire thing right now, but you do need some window work done. They can help you out with that.
Mm-hmm.
So
give them a call. They're great. We've become friends with them. They truly want to do a great job for you.
And you know what? I can see right through their product. Thought I'd thrown a dad joke there at the end. Okay, I have a question. We have about 2 minutes left.
Okay.
Can I ask the question I asked you during the...
Yeah.
It's, keep in mind, we have people who think that we're creating an adversarial situation with our listeners right here. We're not arguing for anything. We're presenting a side that is designed to make you all think. And that's what part of our job here is at Sandhill and at News Talk 107.9. The other part is to clean the toilets. But I will tell you that I imagine for a moment you move into a neighborhood, you have the nicest neighbors in the world, and your kids become friends. You have parties together, you spend time with each other, you serve each other, you help each other rake each other's lawns, and you're looking out for each other. And 2 years into that relationship, you find out they're not here legally. Are you going to call ICE on those people? They're good people. They're here serving. Now, that's not us saying we shouldn't have immigration laws if people are nice. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that there's a very human element to this. And I think the way that we handle it has to recognize there's a lot of good people who are here because we were lax on enforcing the law for a long time. We don't give amnesty. We don't do all of that. But I do think we have to be thoughtful about how we go about making all of this correct and making it all right.
And that's a much harder process than you imagine because we're going back decades of bad policy.
Yeah, we are. I mean, we're trying to put toothpaste back into a tube, and you just can't.
Mm-hmm.
You can only be where you are and move forward from there. So, all right. I can't wait to read the texts after that. We'll see y'all tomorrow. It's 9:59.